Annie Collins here for Imagine Crafts. Today we'll be creating this tiny witch hat, which is perfect for your Halloween tablescape or home decor. Let's go over some of the products I used. Please keep in mind that you can easily switch out any of these products to make it more kid-friendly. So let's go over the products. Memento ink in tuxedo black, VersaFine ink in onyx black, Versamark embossing ink, Imagine Crafts embossing powder in black hologram. This is a beautiful shimmery embossing powder. Memento markers in the following colors: Tangelo, Morocco, and Toffee Crunch. I'll also be using tuxedo black, but I'll bring that in a little bit later. Imagine Crafts tarret tape. Joy Clair Designs Trick or Treat stamp set. We'll be using the sentiment Trick or Treat and the following images: this tall pumpkin, short pumpkin, and this cluster of bats. Rinea Foil paper. I'm using the Haunted Variety Pack. I'm using the black paper, which is called Starstruck Ebony, right here. And it's a beautiful little, it's a beautiful shimmery paper which has little stars on it. It's very pretty. And I cut that into two 4-inch diameter circles. Rinea Foil paper, Glossy, Violet, and Gold. And this will be for the sash of our hat. White cardstock, which we'll be using to stamp our images. And I did one off screen just to see if I like it. So we'll be creating this one here today. Okay, I'm going to clear all this off my desk and we'll go over these two circles. I cut out two circles which are 4-inch in diameter. Here's the thing: Rinea foil paper is just that. It's foiled paper. It is thin foiled paper. While it holds its shape beautifully, I wanted something a little more sturdy for this project today. So what I did was cut two chipboard pieces and what I did is then adhered the foiled paper onto the chipboard. If you don't have chipboard, feel free to use a cereal box or a cracker box, but you just need to cut them into two 4-inch diameter circles. So one of my circles is foiled or covered with the foil paper on both sides, and one is only covered on one side. The one with this one side will be the top of our hat, and the double-sided will be the bottom of our hat. Now let's get started on our project. Taking the circle that is chipboard on one side and the black paper on the other, I'm going to cut it in half at 2 inches. Now if you're just using this with the foil paper or construction paper, you just need to gently curl it with your fingers. Since I have the chipboard, I'm going to manipulate it a little bit more and bring in a paintbrush here, the handle, to kind of curl it. You can use a paintbrush handle, a pencil, your bone folder, whatever you need to curl it. All you're going to do is create a cone shape. So you're going to meet those two straight edges together to create your cone shape. To keep them together, we're going to use a piece of tarret tape. I'm just going to put a small piece right there on the edge, remove the backing, and then we're going to meet our two ends together, just like this. And we create a cute little cone. You can fill this cone with those little erasers, the Halloween erasers, or those little rings the kids like. You make it like a little piñata, or just leave it empty like I am and use it for table decoration. So this is the brim, and I'm just giving it a little curling and fussing here because witches' hats are never straight and prim and proper. They're always curled such. We're going to adhere our cone to our brim. You can use the on-point glue, and it takes a while to dry. So to make it a little quicker on screen, I'm using a hot glue gun. If you plan on using a hot glue gun and do this project with your children, please use supervision. Do not let them use the hot glue gun, even if it's a low temp, on their own, because they can get burned. Okay, they can use craft glue. It'll take a little longer to dry, but it'll work just fine. All right, so here I'm adding a little bit more glue because I missed a spot. I'm holding it in place. Once I know it's firm, I can then move on to my sash. I'm going to wrap it around to get an idea of how much I need because I cut a long piece here. And I should have measured twice and cut once because I cut it too short. But it's okay, it's an easy fix. All right, so I'm using the violet side of this double-sided paper. One side is violet, one side is gold. You can choose whichever side you would like. And I'm just going to put some tarret tape on the back of it. And I'm going to peel off the backing, and I'm going to then press our foiled paper onto our hat. And I'm starting at the back where that seam is, and I'm just going to press it into place, and it gets a little crumbled along the way. Crumpled, I should say. Not crumbled, crumpled. But that's okay, because our witch's hat should look worn and used, because she does her magic with it. So, as I said, I should have measured twice, cut once. I missed a little gap here, so I'm just cut another small piece of my glossy paper here, and did the same thing. Put some tarret tape, peeled the backing, and pressed it into place. Now we have our sash all the way around. Working that brim again. Now I'm going to set that to the side so we could bring in our white cardstock. We're going to stamp our images now. Oh, real quick, the Memento Tuxedo Black ink, I used to ink the edges of my circles because I did not want the chipboard showing. However, I forgot to ink it when I cut it in half. I'll do that later off screen. So please remember to ink all edges if you don't want the chipboard to show. Alright, so I'm going to put a little bit of our anti-static tool on here so that the embossing powder only sticks to our ink. Now, Versamark ink is a clear sticky ink, so you can't see it here on camera. You can see it and I can see it, but you probably can't see it here on camera. But once I add the embossing powder, you will be able to see it. So I'm bringing in the black hologram embossing powder. I'm going to sprinkle it on, tap it off, and like magic, my pumpkins appear. Okay, I know. Sorry about that. Okay, so I add a little bit more to make sure I cover all of my pumpkins here. And then I funnel back all the extra embossing powder into the pouch. And I close that off and set it to the side. Now I'm going to put a clothespin on the edge so that I can heat emboss, because my heat tool does get hot. Again, safety. If you're doing this with your children, please do not let them do this unsupervised, because the heat tool does get quite hot. I like to heat from the bottom or from the back of my image first, and then I go on top, heating it until the embossing powder is completely melted. If you don't feel safe embossing with your children around, you can use just the black ink and let them color the images. Alright, so I'm going to use my Memento marker. Memento markers are double-sided. One has a fine tip and one has a brush tip. I'll be using the brush tip to color our pumpkins. And as you can see, I'm going up and down, trying to create those striations or fibrous looks that pumpkins have. Filling it all in, and I'm using the Tangelo marker here to color both of my pumpkins. Again, keeping the up and down motion, trying to create that texture that pumpkins have. Once I fill all of it in, I bring in my Morocco marker, again with the brush tip, and I'm going to start at the top, just halfway, going down halfway, and then I'll do the same thing from the bottom, going halfway up. This will create, this will create some dimension on our pumpkin and some nice texture as well. And I'll do this to both of our pumpkins. And now your children can color theirs, and I'm sure they'll create some beautiful striations and texture. I remember when I used to craft with my kids and they were little, they would create some amazing texture on all their projects. Alright, I used some Toffee Crunch here to fill in our stems. Now we're going to put in our sentiment and our little bats here. For that, we're going to use our VersaFine ink. This is a nice detailing ink, so it's perfect for sentiments and small little images like these little bats. I'm going to ink it up and put the trick or treat sentiment on our tall pumpkin, and then on our shorter pumpkin we'll get our little bats. And I'm going to nestle it just so that larger bat is towards the bottom. And here we go. Let me clear that out of the way. So now we have both our pumpkins complete. I'm trying to show you the holographic embossing powder. It's kind of hard to see. I'm sorry. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and fussy cut these images out. If you're fussy cutting these with your children and you want them to do it, please use safety scissors for the children. I use a nice pair of sharp scissors here, and I keep them straight and move the paper so it goes pretty quickly. I used to craft with my children all the time. We did a lot of Halloween and Christmas crafts. We still do Halloween and Christmas crafts. They're adults now. We all meet up, and every year we create an ornament for our tree, and every year we create some kind of fun Halloween craft. So I know how much fun it is to craft with your kids, so I figured why not create a little project that you can create and craft with your kids. Okay, back to our project. Now that we fussy cut our pumpkins out, since I stamped them on white cardstock, I have that little white edge showing. I don't want that white edge. So I'm going to use my Memento Tuxedo Black marker to color the edge so that the white doesn't show through. And I'm coloring from the back so that if I miss or slip, I don't color the front of my image. Okay, so now we're going to adhere our little pumpkins to our hat. At first I was thinking, those will be so cute nestled together. But I'm making this for a tablescape, so that means only one person or one side of the table will get to see the pumpkins. So then I decided, wait, I'll put one on each side. I'll use the taller pumpkin to hide our seam and our shorter pumpkin towards the front. Here's a tip. Curl your pumpkins and then put your foam adhesive and then apply it to your hat. I did not do that, and I realized that here, and I'm like, they stick out too much. So I try to curl it. What I do end up taking them off and curling them and putting more foam adhesive. So now our project is complete. Simple and fun. Let's go with some of our products. We use Imagine Crafts Tarret Tape, VersaFine Onyx Black, Memento Tuxedo Black, Versa Mark Ink, Embossing Powder, and Black Hologram. Memento Markers, Tangelo, Toffee Crunch, Morocco, and Tuxedo Black. Our Rinea Foil paper and our Joy Clair design stamps, which are so cute. And here is our little hat once again. I hope you had fun creating this or watching me create this, and I hope you found some inspiration. Feel free to subscribe to our channel and leave us a like if you like this so you can have more inspiration from our design team.